Is everyone able to see the screen, guys? Yes. Payment of tax. Okay, done. Fantastic. Let's start, my dear friends. Let's start. Come on. Let's start. Okay. So payment of tax, my dear friends. We have three taxes: IGST, CGST, and SGST. Okay, IGST, CGST, and SGST. Perfect. Okay. Now understand that your first aim should be to knock off the ITC of IGST. Is that very clear? Yes, absolutely correct. So if you have IGST balance, understand one thing: you will first knock it off. First knock off IGST balance, and then okay, go ahead with CGST and SGST. So first use IGST balance completely, my dear friends, to pay off IGST liability and CGST and SGST liability. Once you have knocked off IGST liability, okay, so first you will always go and see if the liability that you represent, okay, so if your credit is IGST, you first look out for a liability of IGST. If yes, then go ahead and knock it off. And if you still have the remaining balance, you go ahead and pay off the liability of CGST and SGST in any order and in any proportion. Got it, my dear friends? Okay. So IGST credit first utilize against IGST, then if the balance is still remaining, you pay it off, okay, against CGST and SGST credit in any order and in any proportion. Okay, that is the balance of IGST. First you exhaust this, and then if you have credit of CGST, you use it to pay off CGST liability, and if you still have the balance left, you go ahead and pay off the liability of IGST. Okay, and same goes for SGST. You pay off SGST liability, and if you still have the balance left for SGST, you use it to pay off IGST. Okay. Now there is only one condition in this, specifically this, that you can use IGST balance to pay off, okay, you can use, SGST balance to pay off IGST, only and only if the CGST balance does not exist. So if you have credit balance, okay, if you have ITC of C and S and you have liability of I, you first use C, and once it is exhausted, then you think of S. Okay, if C was enough and the liability of I is exhausted, S will get carried forward, simple, to the next tax period. So never a situation can happen that you already have ITC of C and S and you are using S and C ka balance is getting carried forward. No, it will never happen. It will never happen, friends. Never, ever, 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 ever. Got it? That's the magic of manner of payment of tax. Also remember, my dear friends, you will never use CGST credit to pay off SGST liability, and you will never use SGST credit to pay off CGST liability. Simple, very simple. Okay, just remember that. Okay. So again, please revise, my dear friends. Come on, let's revise. IGST credit will be used to pay off IGST liability. If the balance is left, IGST credit will be used to then pay off CGST and SGST liability. But first, at any cost, you will exhaust IGST. Next, You have CGST credit. Use it to pay off CGST. बच गया तो use it to pay off IGST. And the last is SGST. Use it to pay off against SGST. बच गया तो then use it to pay off IGST. But under no circumstance you will use S to pay off I if C still exists. If you want to use S ka credit to pay off I, just check whether C is exhausted or not. If yes, then go ahead. If no, then use C ka credit to pay off I. And if still the I liability remains, use S ka credit to pay off I. But no way it can happen that S ka credit you are utilizing, whereas the matter of fact is that C ka credit still exists. Got it? Never, ever, 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 ever. Okay, perfect. That's it. So that's, my dear friends, manner of utilization of ITC. Perfect. Next thing that I really want to get on to, my dear friends, is with respect to, okay, something important, that is with the concept of e-ledgers. Yes, the concept of e-ledgers. Okay, now understand, e-ledgers, my dear friends, are divided into three parts: e-liability, e-credit, e-cash. Once again, e-liability, e-credit, e-cash. E-liability represents all the liabilities that the taxpayer is supposed to pay to the government. It can be tax, it can be interest, it can be late fee, it can be penalty, it can be anything. Okay. Second, understand one thing. When it comes to, okay, e-credit, understand it represents ITC. And the last is e-cash. So if your credit that you have utilized to pay off your liability is not enough, so your output tax is 10 lakhs, your ITC is 9 lakhs, you will have to deposit 1 lakh from your bank account in the e-cash ledger. E-cash ledger is like the e-wallet that you use not for shopping but for paying taxes. Got that? Yes. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm trying to say is, what is e-liability? So e-liability, you have three things. Okay, this is how you will pay off e-liability. Okay, first is you will pay off self-assessed output tax, penalty, late fee, interest of previous tax period. Okay, of previous tax period. Then you will pay the same for current tax period. And then, okay, it can happen that the liability that you've assessed earlier, might have been, okay, in short. It might have been in short, that would have been short paid. So you were supposed to pay 10 but you've only paid 6. So then proper officer can send you a demand notice under section 73 and 74. Under section 73 and 74. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes. That's how it is. Okay. So I hope that is extremely clear. Okay. So what is the chronological order here? Self-assessed output tax, penalty, late fee, interest of previous tax period, then current tax period, then whatever your liability that you've assessed earlier, a proper officer feels that it is not correct, they will send you a demand notice, which will certainly ahead will be converted into a demand order under section 73 or 74, which are sections of demand and recovery. Okay, now let me just explain this in a little detail, friends, in a little detail. Right? What I mean here is, my dear friends, is that understand one thing. That Yeah, let's do one thing. Let's solve a sum. What do you say? And let's solve the sum of May 23. Yes, let's do it. This is a 5-marker question. Tell me what will happen in this case. Tell me. First we will go ahead with previous tax period, then current, and then 7374. Go ahead. Mr. Manik provides the following information. Okay, but he wants to clear the liability of demand notice under 73 first. Discuss the provisions of the order of discharge of GST liability and advise Mr. Manik how can he go about with respect to discharging liability. So which is the liability that he needs to pay off first, which ideally the system would allow, right? The 5-marker question, all I want you is that whatever chronological order you think is right, you write it in that way. So for example, if you feel second should be first, write second, 1, 2, 3, 4, something on those lines. Just write the sequence. Why Karnataka edition tax paper? Was it different? Sneha? Was it different? If yes, then please send me across. What happened? Was there some holiday declared on that day? Why? Okay. If it's possible, please send me across. Please send me across. Fine, I have the paper in front of me. You can use this and give me the answer accordingly. Tell me. Abhirami, why 1, 3? Simple. Okay, understand. Understand. No, so May month का जो भी liability है, okay, whatever liabilities we have for the month of May, okay, that is tax, interest, penalty, that is one only, understand, that is one only. Okay, the second thing is tax for June, and the third thing is liability arising out of demand notice. Got it? So this is the way in which he will have to discharge liability. He cannot directly go ahead and discharge the demand notice wala liability. Is that very clear? Yes, it will be the same order, and there is no order for 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 itself is one only, understand? Okay, because we have to discharge sorry, correct? Okay, fair enough. ठीक है. So first you will pay off all the taxes, interest, penalty of previous tax period, then current tax period, and then comes the demand notice. Got it? Perfect. Next is with respect to e-credit. So understand, for paying off liability you need asset, and here you will have ITC. Okay, here you will have ITC. So you can use the ITC to pay off your output tax, right? But understand that you can use ITC, that is e-credit, only to pay off output tax. Only to pay off output tax. So my question is that understand one thing. If, for example, okay, understand here what this is, that ITC can be used to pay off output tax. Correct? My question is, can ITC be used to pay off input tax liability as per RCM? Can that happen? Can that happen, my dear friends? Tell me. Tell me, my dear friends, can that ever happen? Just by the plain reading, do you think does that make sense? Can that happen? Can you use ITC to pay off input tax liability as per RCM? No, you can't. No, you can't. Dare you do it. Okay? You can't, my dear friends. You absolutely just can't do it. You can't do it, friends. Remember that. Okay? Remember that. You can use ITC only to pay off output tax. You cannot use ITC to pay off input tax liability as per RCM. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Does that make sense, my dear friends? Yes, absolutely yes. So understand how does this work? Understand how does this work, my dear friends? Okay, so for example, there is ITC of 10 lakhs. And now what has happened is you have taken inward supply where tax is payable as per RCM. So there is input tax liability. That I need to pay to the government 1 lakh. So can I just knock it off like this and here keep this 9 lakhs? No, I can't. I can't do this. This is a crime. I will have to use my cash bank and knock it off. So I will use the cash bank to knock it off. And as soon as I use the cash bank, as soon as I pay the input tax liability by depositing that amount from my bank account to the e-cash ledger, as soon as I do that, as soon as I pay it off, I will add 1 lakh here, and now henceforth my input tax credit will be 11 lakhs. Are you getting it? My input tax credit will be 11 lakhs. Okay, so 2 things. First, pay input tax liability in cash. And second, so first you pay this, okay, pay input tax liability in cash. Definitely, okay. Pay input tax liability in cash, okay. And then as soon as you've paid that in cash, as in when I say in cash, that is through e-cash ledger. And once you've paid this, avail ITC for the same. Avail ITC for the C. Is that very clear, my dear friends? E-case. Okay? E-case. First, pay the input tax liability in cash and then avail ITC for the same. Right? And once you are done with that, it ends there. Okay? It ends there. Okay? So these 2 treatments are very, very important. Okay, we will do a sum in that. Let's hope that you remember these treatments. Okay. Yes. Also one more thing to add. ITC again cannot be used to pay off interest, late fee, penalty. No, not happening. You can only use it to pay off output tax. Okay, so in case there is an MCQ, you know what to write. You know what to write, guys. Okay, yes. Then the question is, where is e-cash ledger used? To understand, e-cash ledger is used everywhere. It is used to pay off output tax, interest, late fees, penalty, everything you will use it to pay off everything. Okay, Achha. Now how will you, okay, how will you infuse the money in e-cash ledger, my dear friend? How will you infuse the money in e-cash ledger? NEFT, RGS, debit card, credit card, net banking, UPI, IMPS. But just understand the last one. Cash, DD, check. Up to 10,000 per tax period. So in case you are paying in any of these, only 10,000 is allowed. But understand one thing. How will you do this? How will this happen? So for example, if I have cash, okay, I have cash, yes. Now you take this cash, go to the bank, scheduled bank, give your GST number, and as soon as you give them the money, they will show a credit in the e-cash ledger and give you a challan, payment challan. Got it? Yes. So by doing this, how much amount can you infuse? Either 10,000 by the way of cash, check, or DD. Is that very clear? Yes. Okay. So it's extremely important, my dear friends, for you to understand that this is how is the condition, but only with respect to cash, check, and DD. Now the exception is, my dear friends, is when government department or proper officer who's recovered loads of cash through investigation, scrutiny, okay, or by the way of auction, any of that side. Okay, so for example, there were a lot of immobile and mobile properties that you found from the SSC. You sold it off. Now you have received a lot of cash and you are going to pay some of that by depositing it in a scheduled bank account and giving his GST number so that the amount is deposited in the e-cash ledger, right? Or for that matter, there's a lot of cash that you have unearthed through the way of investigation. So when we raided the office of the taxpayer, we realized that the ceilings have a lot of cash and the cash came out to be 100 crores. So we said, okay, assuming you have 100 crores, you must have sold goods or service of 100 crores. No. So which is why you received a cash of 100 crores. So let's say GST rate is 18%. That comes to 18 crores. Usme we add interest, late fee, penalty. So that comes to 30 crores. Right? Now understand one thing. Understand one thing, my dear friends. That it's very simple. That now that I have cash, I will take the 30 crores, go to Axis Bank or SBI, give the GST number, and now deposit that in the e-cash ledger of the taxpayer. At that juncture, the SBI employee cannot tell me that, sir, but the limit is only 10,000, sir. Ayo, the limit is only 10,000, sir. Please understand this. No, that person will not tell me that, understand that. That person will not tell me that, understand that. Okay? That is extremely important. Okay? That is extremely important. Okay? Excellent. Okay? That's how it is. So if the government has to deposit, if the proper officer has to deposit, understand one thing: they don't have any restriction of that 10,000 limit. The restriction is on you, not on the government. That's it. Okay, done. Now, when it comes to e-cash ledger, okay, understand one thing. When it comes to e-cash ledger, there are two heads: major head and minor head. So understand that, for example, when it comes to major head, right, ICS, tax, late fee, penalty, interest. Okay, so these are all major heads and these are all minor heads. So initially, and this is, understand, this is a picturization of whose? E-cash ledger. Whose? E-cash ledger, and I am not showing that. Do you want to see that? Let's check. Let's check, my dear friends. E-cash ledger. Images. Check. This is how it looks. Can you see this? Yeah. यार क्या चल रहा है? Okay, so all the above are minor heads and in the left there are major heads. Now the thing is that if, understand, if I have to deposit, okay, if I have to deposit tax, okay, if I have to deposit tax in the IGST head, so I have to deposit money in the minor head of tax and the major head of IGST. Minor head of the tax and major head of the IGST. In that case, my dear friends, understand, I will deposit it. I will select the requisite columns and I will deposit it. Let's say it is 1000. Let's say it is 1000. Now, understand one thing. If I want to, let's say, in the next tax period, deposit some amount in the, let's say I want to deposit 3000 in the tax column of CGST, and if I already have a balance in the tax column of IGST, right, can I transfer this amount from year to year? So initially that was not possible. So if there were absolutely no internal transfers amongst any minor head or major head, and that was creating a very big hassle, because understand, if I already have a balance, okay, if I already have a balance, understand, if I already have the balance, okay, why will I insert another 1000 from my bank account? That was a big hassle. So what used to happen is that I used to ask refund for this amount in case I don't want it anymore, and I would have to infuse the money from my bank account to CGST account. So I could not directly transfer here, right? I could not. But now, after GST PMT 09 form, it is very much possible, right? It is very much possible. You can transfer erroneous deposit under any minor head of major head to any minor head of the same or other major head. Transfer of any amounts already lying unutilized of the minor heads in eCash ledger. For example, let me just show you. Do you see this, guys? Can you see this? Yes. This is GST PMT09 form. So you can choose the major head and the minor head from where you want to transfer the amount, and you can also choose the major head and minor head to which you want to transfer the amount. Okay, so you choose the source and you choose the destination. You choose the source and then you choose the destination. Is that very clear? Yes, absolutely correct. Okay, so now that is very much possible, which was not possible initially, friends. Okay, this is an important form. Please keep in mind and remember this. It's extremely important. There is also an amendment, okay, that we have in it. The amendment is that, let's say for example, if I have some cash balance, okay, in the branch of HUL Maharashtra, and let's say I want to, and let's say this is closing down, and I want to shift this, instead of asking for refund and directly crediting in the bank account, I thought that, listen, bale Maharashtra mera band ho gaya, though my Maharashtra branch is closed, but my Gujarat branch is still there, it still exists. So why can't I just transfer the balance there itself? So government said, okay, you can do that. You can transfer the balance between distinct person. Distinct person is a concept we will do in supply chapter. Okay, that only means that it is your branch. Okay, so you can easily transfer this to your another branch in the same state or in other state, which was not possible frankly before. But the only condition is that before transferring the e-cash ledger ka balance, you have paid all the liabilities out there. Okay, so you have paid all the liabilities and still you have e-cash ledger balance, then you can transfer it. Simple. Okay, this was not possible before, but now it's very much possible. Very much possible. Very much possible. Okay, perfect. And that's it, my dear friends. Okay, so that's, my dear friends, with respect to e-ledgers. Acha. In the same context of e-ledgers, I just want you to go through all these three. Okay, now understand that it's nothing but debit side and credit side of each ledger. So if I give you the mantra and you follow it, you will easily able to figure out what is written in the debit side and what is written in the credit side. Correct? So the mantra is very simple. The mantra is that just consider that you are in the books of accounts of government, where you are reading taxpayers account. Got it? Where you are reading taxpayers account. So now understand, Nana understand, okay? And Anil Sikveria, please understand. In the books of accounts of government, you are right now in the taxpayers account. Now understand, if tax liability is a liability for taxpayer, it is a payable for taxpayer, so it is a receivable for the government. Interest is payable, for them it is receivable. Late fees payable, receivable. Penalty payable, they are receivable, and which is why you will debit that. So which is why if you see the e-liability ledger, amount payable towards tax, interest, late fee, penalty, you will see a debit side of the entry. You will see the entry in the debit side. Got it? Because this is the amount the government is receiving from the taxpayer. Right? Obviously the balance, the debit balance of this will be reduced with either e-credit ledger or e-cash ledger. Very simple, because both these amounts government owes the taxpayer. The money that is in the e-cash ledger and the money that is there in the form of ITC in the e-credit ledger. E-credit ledger can be used obviously to knock off only output tax, and e-cash ledger can be used to pay off anything and everything. Got it? Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes. Okay, so keep this thing as a constant, and I hope you really understand what has happened. Okay, so again, this is the debit side, this is the credit side. Okay, understand that the money in e-cash ledger and ITC, you are claiming that money from the government, so it's receivable for you, and which is why it is payable for the government. It is receivable from you, but it is payable by the, okay, understand, it is receivable for the taxpayer, and it is payable by the government to the taxpayer. So government owes ITC to taxpayer, government owes the money in e-cash ledger to the taxpayer, just like government owes the money in the bank account to the bank account holder. Okay, second, tell me one thing. When it comes to e-credit ledger, my dear friends, tell me one thing. There is debit amount and there is credit amount. There is debit amount and there is credit amount. Does that make sense? Yes. Now ITC is receivable for you. ITC is receivable from you. Right? ITC is receivable for you, right? Correct. ITC is receivable for you, right? Correct. Also understand that it is payable for government to you, which is why it is a credit balance, which can be debited by only one thing, and that is output tax, output tax, output tax. Got it? And the last, e-cash ledger. So the balance in e-cash ledger is receivable to me, and it is payable by the government. So payable liability, it will fall here. So any deposit that you make via NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, whatever, will fall here. And any TDS or TCS that either the e-commerce operator or either the recipient, which is the government department, and all of that have deducted, okay, the amount will be reflected here. Yes, and it will be debited with the help of what? Tax, interest, late fee, penalty. Got it? That's it. So I hope you've understood, my dear friends. Just consider that you are in the books of accounts of government, but taxpayer is the account that you are looking into. So if it's receivable for you, it will be payable for them. If it's payable for you, it will be receivable for them. Vice versa. Okay? Did you all get this, guys? Kesarla, Lakshmi, Anil, Vijay Lakshmi, Bala, Nena, everyone. Thank you. Done. Okay. Now there are only two aspects left, my dear friends. One is interest on delayed payment of tax, right, which is filled with amendments, right? But nothing to worry, it's quite easy that way. Okay, and then we have rule 86b and rule 86a. Okay, fair enough. Do one thing, take a 15-minute break, and then we will come out, right, from 7:30 to 8:39 max. We will do these concepts in detail, and also with that we will do a couple of sums, so that the entire aspect of payment of tax is clear to you. Got it? I want to do a sum with you for interest and also with payment of tax, right? We will end it by doing that, so that the entire concept is really very clear. So I want you to go back and come, okay, by 7:35. ठीक है, आ जाओ वापस, चलो। Okay, I'm so sorry. So yeah, rule 86A, my dear friends, basically talks about ITC, and government will not allow ITC if government feels these are the reasons. Reason number one, supplier or recipient. Okay, so there are two parties. Supplier has issued invoice to the recipient. Understand? Hello, can you hear me, guys? Sir, no sound? Now it's clear, right? Now it's clear? Okay. So now the objective is, my dear friends, is it clear, guys? Bala, Lakshmi, is it clear? Ganga? Okay, fantastic. So either the supplier or either the recipient is non-existent. Second reason, supplier has not paid tax to government. Third reason, without having invoice or debit note. Simple. Recipient has taken ITC without invoice or debit note, or without receipt of goods or service. So these are the reasons why ITC will not be allowed to be debited from the e-credit ledger. Okay. Frankly, 86A you can ignore for November 23 attempt, because it was clearly asked in May 23. Right? It was asked in May 23, my dear friends. If you can see, can you see this? B point. It says Rule 86A of CGST rules provides that in certain specified circumstances, Commissioner on the basis of reasonable belief may not allow debit in the e-credit ledger. State the grounds. 5 marks के लिए पूछा था friends, and that's where you are. Okay, these were the reasons, and the amount of debit that is disallowed, it depends on the rank of the officer. So it was ACDC, not exceeding 1 crore, additional commissioner, joint commissioner, above 1 crore but not exceeding 5 crores, and the last is above 5 crores. It is either principal commissioner or commissioner. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Done. ठीक है, तो 86A वैसे हो गया अपना. Okay, now 86B is to be focused, right? 86B, my dear friends, is basically talking about this fact. 86B talks about that in case where the value of taxable supplies exceeds 50 lakhs, okay, यहाँ पे लिख दो, in a month. Okay, so in case where the value of taxable supplies exceeds 50 lakhs in a month, guys, 50 lakhs in a month. Okay, understand one thing, my dear friends. If this is what happens, then 86B can apply. But understand that while you are calculating 50 lakhs, you will neither include zero rated supplies, that is basically exports, or supplies to SEZ. Okay, you can just jot down. Zero rated supplies का classic example is exports or supplies to SEZ. ठीक है, you will not include them, and also exempted supplies you will not include them. ठीक है, done. Now if this happens, understand, if rule 86B applies, what will happen? So let's say, for example, if your output tax is 10 lakhs and you already have ITC of 11 lakhs, what will happen? We will take the entire ITC, okay, knock off the entire liability, and the ITC that will be carried forward is of 1 lakh. The ITC that will be carried forward will be of 1 lakh. Correct? That's how you will function. Correct. This is normal scenario. This is how normal scenario things will pan out. But when it comes to rule 86B, this will not happen. So there will be output tax of 10 lakhs. But when it comes to ITC, understand one thing, friends. When it comes to ITC, okay, what government says is that you cannot use the entire ITC to pay off output tax. You can use only 99% of ITC, okay, to the extent of output tax, and ensure that you at least pay 1% in e-cash ledger. You at least pay 1% in e-cash ledger. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Okay, correct. Okay. So you will, instead of 10 lakhs, okay, you will only use 99% of output tax liability as ITC. The remaining you will pay in cash, e-cash ledger. Okay, so I have helped you understand two things. One is the applicability of 86B. When does it apply? When your taxable supplies are more than 50 lakhs. And once that applies, understand, will you be able to use the entire ITC? No, you can use only 99% of the output tax. So 1% you will have to pay in cash. Now, which are the four situations where rule 86B does not apply, which basically covers most of the cases? First, where the said person, proprietor, karta, managing director, any of the two partners, WTDs, managing committee of associations or board of trustees, as the case may be, have paid more than 1 lakh as income tax in each of the last 2 financial years. Okay. Is that very clear? Yes. In each of the last 2 financial years. Okay. He has paid he has paid income tax, or not input tax, he has paid income tax. Did you get that, guys? Okay. Second, my dear friends, is with respect to where the registered person has received a refund of more than 1 lakh in the preceding financial year on account of unutilized ITC in case of zero rated supply and inverted duty structure. Now, what do you mean by this? Understand what is inverted duty structure, guys. Okay, so for example, if I am a taxpayer, okay, I'm a taxpayer. Now this is my input tax, this is my output tax. So generally what happens is that this will be subject to 5% and this will be subject to, let's say, 18%. So I have purchased 1 lakh worth, I will sell it at 2. So my input tax credit is 10,000 and my output tax is, let's say, 36,000. So 10,000 is going out of my pocket. I have received 36,000. I will keep 10 with me and 26 I will pay to government. That's how things pan out. But when it comes to IDS, inverted duty structure or inverted tax rate structure, there your scenario exactly plays in an inverted fashion. Ulta, inverted, right? inverted. So your input tax rate, okay, your input tax rate is higher than output tax rate. समझा? Your input tax rate is higher than output tax rate. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So here what happens is that, let's say my ITC is 18,000. My output tax is 10,000. So always my ITC will be higher than output tax, and always I will have unutilized ITC. So for example, here the unutilized ITC would be 8,000, right? Because you will use this ITC to pay off 10, तो फिर बचा 8, so 8 will be the unutilized ITC. For that, government says that you can get refund. You can get a refund. Got it? Okay. So whatever input tax you have, you will get a refund of the same. ठीक है? अच्छा, and next, in case of exports, my dear friends, understand, if you are an exporter and you have purchased domestic goods or service which are obviously subject to GST at the rate 10%, 1 lakh, and there you go, zero rated supplies. Okay, let's say it is 30 lakhs. तो 10 लाख का माल आप 30 लाख में बेच रहे हो. Whatever you purchase for 10, you are selling it for 30. Now the GST is at the rate 0%, because this is considered as zero rated supply. The export that you are doing, okay, in USA is considered as a zero rated supply. Got it? Zero rated supply, that's it. Okay, simple. Now understand one thing. WTO came up with a norm that said that only goods and services shall be exported and not taxes and duties. Now understand, in GST there are two taxes. Okay, one is output tax and the other is ITC. One is output tax and the other is ITC. So when it comes to output tax, it is zero. So you are not charging someone anything, right? And it will be very unfair on your part to charge anything, because let's say, for example, I am charging GST to Justin Bieber. He will say, why the hell will I pay GST? So my pocket is getting empty, and who is getting the money at the end of the day? Modi ji. Is Modi ji making the roads of America? No. Is Modi ji going to give me pension? No. Is Modi ji going to make my bridges? No. So why will I pay tax to Modi ji? I will pay tax to Biden. So please, you don't charge me GST. So we said, okay, we will not charge GST. Output tax is 0%. But then this exporter complained that, listen, if the output tax is 0%, understand that I have purchased goods from India, so someone else has charged me GST, so I have landed up paying input tax to the extent of 1 lakh. To the extent of 1 lakh. Now, if I don't have the eligibility to charge output tax, understand that the input tax that I have incurred, will be added to the cost, because I don't have any way to recover tax from the recipient, because I cannot charge output tax, because what I am doing is now termed as zero rated supplies. So I cannot charge GST to any foreigner. Now if I cannot charge GST, how will I recover my ITC? So government said this input tax is your unutilized ITC, and hence we will give you the refund of the same. And refund you will get, understand, refund you will get only in these two cases: zero rated supply and inverted duty structure. So if you land up getting a refund of 1 lakh in this case, right, in the preceding financial year, then understand one thing, very simple. In that case, again rule 86B shall not apply. Okay? Acha, fourth wala, where the registered person is a government department, PSU, local authority, statutory body, again 86B will not apply. And the last and the final part, which is the most interesting one, because that is where the entire confusion generally lies. Okay, it says that the registered person, if he pays output tax through e-cash ledger in excess of 1% of the total output tax liability, okay, up to the said month cumulatively. So what do you mean by that? He says that, listen boss, listen. For example, April, May, June, 3 months. Taxable supplies 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 60 lakhs. Correct? Correct? Yes. These are taxable supplies. E-credit ledger is 30,000, 1 lakh 70 and 7 lakhs. So output tax happens to be what? 10 lakhs ka 1 lakh. 20 ka 2, 60 ka 6. ITC lands up to be 30,000. Okay, 1 lakh minus 30,000, 70,000. ठीक है. दूसरा क्या है? 2 lakh का 170, 30,000. Okay. Well, now understand one thing, that rule 86 will apply in April. No. Why? Because the taxable turnover is not exceeding 50 lakhs. Will it apply in May? No, because again here it is 20 and we need 86B. For 86B to apply, you need 50 lakhs to exceed. But what about June? But what about June? Has it exceeded 50 lakhs? Yes, so there is a possibility that 86B can apply. But if it falls under the exception, then nothing can save it. So simple. Here, my dear friends, 50 lakhs has got exceeded, so there is a possibility that 86B might apply. So to check that, we will now have to do the experiment. Okay, so we will first check okay, what is the amount that we have paid through e-cash ledger up to the set tax period, that is June, and what is 1% of the output tax cumulatively. Okay, so if the 1% of the output tax cumulatively, we'll see that. And second is amount paid through e-cash ledger. तो बताओ कितना है आउटपुट टैक्स आपका? 1, 2, 6, 9 लाख हो गया. करेक्ट. तो 9 लाख का 1% कितना होता है? 90,000. करेक्ट. एक सेकंड, स्लाइड करेक्शन. This is 1 plus 2 plus 6. We have to consider output tax and not to a taxable turnover. We have to consider output tax. उसका 1% लेना. So that's 9 lakhs and that happens to be 9,000. So is 1 lakh more than 9,000? How does 1 lakh come into account? Very simple. Just check the amount that you have paid in cash and you compare it with 1% of the total output tax for cumulative period up to the set tax period. So here the thing is 1 lakh or 9,000. So is 1 lakh more than 9,000? Is the amount of e-cash ledger that you have paid, okay, across these 3 months is more than 1% of the output tax cumulatively, yes, then definitely in that case you are falling under the exception. 86B will not apply, and hence you can avail 100% ITC or 100% ITC or 100% ITC. Is that very clear? Yes, that's it. That's it, my dear friends. Okay. So here 6 lakh ITC nil. Okay. And the e-credit balance of 1 lakh, because understand here you have 7 lakhs, but you have used only 6. So in that case 1 lakh will be carried forward in the next tax period. Very simple. Very simple. Only 2 things to check. Just check up till now what is the output tax, uska 1% le lo. And up till now just check how much have you paid in e-cash ledger. It's a good metric to follow. If you understand it, great. If you don't understand it, all you have to remember is this. Okay, that's it. And if you fall under any of the exceptions, 86B does not apply, you can take 100% ITC. But if it falls under the exception, then understand 86B. If you do not fall under the exception, right, so 86B applies, and definitely it will be 99% of output tax and 1% you will pay in e-cash ledger. Okay, that's it. That's it, my dear friends. Okay. And the last, my dear friends, comes out to be interest. Okay. Guys, did you all understand this? Guys, tell me, guys. Okay. Now the last part, section 50, right? Interest on delayed payment of tax. Now understand one thing, that there are 2 things to understand. For interest you need both value and rate. Value we'll figure out. Rate always 18%. So initially there were 2 options, 18 and 24. But now it's only 18%. So the rate is sorted, 18 standardized rate, but value, it depends. Now understand, if you are a person who is liable to pay tax but fails to pay tax, so you're liable but you have failed to pay. Now understand, why did you fail to pay tax? Reason number 1, that it was the month of April, you have done some purchases, you have done some sales, and you are required to file return on 20th May. You required to file return on 20th May and also pay tax on the same day, right, 20th May. Now the thing is, my dear friends, very simple. Understand that if I don't land up filing return only on 20th May, right? And I'll end up filing on 20th November. So April का जो भी हिसाब किताब है, right, purchase and sale, I was supposed to show it on 20th May, but I did not show it on 20th May. I showed it on 20th November. So did I file the return for the first time? Yes. So will I get the opportunity of displaying both my purchase and sales? Yes. Both my output tax and ITC? Yes. And which is why the value at which the interest rate will be multiplied will be on net basis. Will be on net basis, that is nothing but output tax minus ITC. But if, for example, April का month था and you have filed the return on 20th, you have filed it, so you have shown the entire hisab kitab of output tax minus ITC and you have also paid the tax on time, 20th May, but you paid only 10 lakhs, and in December there is a demand order which says that you are supposed to pay 12 lakhs. You are supposed to pay 12 lakhs. Then in that case, my dear friends, do you understand one thing? Do you understand one thing? That supplier will have to land up paying 2 lakhs. Whatever is needed, you have to discharge that. Okay, so all I would like to say is that if you don't land up filing return only, and that is the reason आपने return file नहीं किया, you have not filed return, and which is why you have also not paid. So since you are filing the return for the first time, though it is delayed, doesn't matter, but you have not filed the return only. So while you're filing the return, even though it is delayed, okay, I will give you the opportunity of taking your ITC and output tax together. Whatever is the data remaining, you will pay the tax and also the interest on it. But if you have assessed only incorrect, you assessed one time but you assessed at a wrong value, so whatever demand comes out now, finally just pay interest on that. Simple. That's it, right? So whatever amount is unpaid, you pay that amount, which is subject to 18% interest. Correct? So this may happen, my dear friends, when either the proper officer is showing me the mirror, or I myself realize that, oh damn, I did not take these supplies in the month of January. Okay, that's it. Now this entire part is the amendment part. Okay, correct. But before this, I would like you to help me with a Q&A. Question 13. Okay. PQR have filed their GSTR 3B for the month of August 2020 within the due date 20th September. It was noticed in the month of October that tax dues for the month of August have been short paid by 10,000. The shortfall of 10,000 was billed through e-cash ledger and credit ledger 7,500 and 2,500 respectively, which was filed on 20th 11. Examine and compute the interest payable, if any, under the CGST Act. Right? So tell me one thing. For the month of August, if the due date happens to be 20th 9, correct? Fair enough. Did he file the return on the due date? Yes. He has filed the return on the due date. So whatever due date is of August 20th 9, he is filed on that. But then it was noticed in the month of October that the liability that he is paid in the month of August is short paid by 10,000. Is short paid by 10,000. So he will have to pay 10,000? Yes. So whatever is the unpaid amount, pay. And what is the unpaid amount? 10,000. You pay that 18% on 10,000. Around 10,000. And the meter will start from 21st of September. So for September, I will take 10 days. And for October, okay, kitna hua? I will take 31 days. And in November, I finally filed it. That is for 20 days. That's 61 days. Got it? Okay. 365. Next. Just try the other question. It says, what would be your answer if GSTR 3B for the month of August had been filed belatedly on 20th 11 as above? So instead of filing it on 20th September, he has filed it belatedly on 20th 11. So the return is only filed late. In that case, what will you consider? Tell me. Will you pay at 10,000 or some other amount? I want it in the comment section. Tell me, guys. Tell me, guys. Tell me. Tell me. Public, Kesarla, Bala, Lakshmi, Ganga, Sneha. Tell me. What is the amount? 10,000, 7,500 or 2,500? What? Yes, it will be 10,000 minus ITC is got it, 7,500. Perfect. Okay, so I will reduce my liability with the help of ITC, and whatever remaining amount comes, that will be my net tax liability. That will be my net tax payable. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Now finally, my dear friends, comes the last part. This one, where ITC has been wrongly availed and utilized, right? So when the balance in e-credit ledger falls below ITC wrongly availed, extent of such ITC utilization shall be amount by which balance in e-credit ledger falls below ITC wrongly availed. What will be the date of utilization? So it depends if the return is filed, the due date of filing return or actual return, whichever is earlier. And in case of others, date of debit in e-credit ledger when the balance falls in e-credit ledger below the amount of ITC wrongly availed. So for example, ITC is wrongly availed. What does that mean? So let's say you have purchased a motor vehicle for employee and you thought it's a business expense, so you took ITC, but actually for a fact 17.5 blocks that. So have you taken the ITC? Yes. But are you eligible for ITC? No. So what happened? Let's do April month. Eligible ITC 7 lakhs. Wrongly availed, we already have categorized it 50,000. Total 7.5 lakhs. Output tax liability 7. Now understand. So output tax is 7 lakhs, ITC is 7.5. So obviously e-credit ledger 50,000 will remain. 50,000 will remain in e-credit ledger, correct? Because I have knocked off the other ITC that you have. I have knocked off the other ITC that you have, yeah? Got it? Correct. Now that will be carried forward. Eligible is 5 lakhs. Now total ITC will be 5.5 lakhs. Output tax liability will be 5 lakhs. Closing balance of e-credit ledger will be 50,000. Got it? So do you realize that the closing balance of e-credit ledger is still not below 50,000? Whatever ITC is wrongly availed, understand you have not utilized it yet. The balance has not gone down below 50. And the second last June, 50,000 is your carried forward balance. ITC eligible for that month was 3 lakhs. So total ITC happens to be 3.5. Output tax liability is 3.3. So understand now the balance that you have is of 20. But the wrongly availed ITC is 50. 50 is wrongly availed. But the balance you have is of 20. So that means 30 is wrongly availed and utilized. So your interest will start from your 30,000. As in the due date of filing return or actual date of filing return, whichever is earlier. Okay, then understand 50,000 में से 30,000 पे interest has started already. Now again the carried forward balance 20,000, eligible 6 lakhs, 6.2 lakhs is total ITC. Output tax is again 6.2. So whatever 20,000 balance I had, I've also utilized that as ITC. Jabki that's incorrect because that was ineligible part wala ITC. So 30 ka interest starts from July ke month ka return. That is 20th July or actual date of filing return, whichever is earlier. And 30,000 is done. 20,000 remaining will start from July ka mahina. So July ka, okay, अगला महीना is 20th August or actual date of filing return, whichever is earlier. ठीक. So all I want you to see is just check whether the wrongly availed ITC that you have, understand, your balance should not go below that. The day it goes below that, interest will start. To the extent it has gone below, which shouldn't have gone below. To the extent where it has gone below, but it shouldn't have gone below. Got it? Yes. ठीक है, that's it. तो ये वाला part sorted है बस. Okay, that's how ITCs, okay, wrongly availed and utilized, interest will be levied in this fashion. Okay. So here, my dear friends, we wrap up payment of tax, but as I have committed, I will solve a couple of sums. One of them being this. This is a good sum, good sum. It has almost all adjustments that I want to be in a sum. Question 9. Let's start solving. Okay. Mr. Ekant, the supplier registered in Delhi, is engaged in the business of purchase of plastic raincoats. He furnishes the following information pertaining to inward and outward supply. Right. So now what you will do, you will write now here, tell me what is ICS. What is ICS? This is liability, that is ITC. So you tell me now, okay, starting with liability, you tell me what is the liability for IGST, CGST and SGST. Come on, start typing. Start typing, guys. Okay, focus on the word supply, outward supply, and you will understand what I'm trying to say. And then focus on inward supply. चलो IGST का आउटवर्ड सप्लाई का लायबिलिटी बताओ. चलो टेल मी IGST लायबिलिटी. Okay guys, yes, I want the answer guys. Yes, correct. देख, इंटरस्टेट आउटवर्ड सप्लाई टू रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन दिख रहा है 30 लाख. यस, ओके, उसका 18% GST रेट. ओके, सो 30 लाख मल्टीप्लाई बाय 9%. ओके, sorry, 18% is 5.4 lakhs. Second, intrastate outward supply 50 lakhs, 9% CGST, 9% SGST, 4.5, 4.5. Next, 15 lakh intrastate outward supply. Intrastate outward supply to unregistered person. Again, 1.35, 1.35. Next. Now this is all inward supply का data. So all purchases का data, all ITC का data. Okay. Inward supply from registered person. So opposite person is registered. I am also registered. 10 lakhs. Intra है, intra. ओके, इंट्रा समझते हो ना, सी और एस. इंट्रास्टेट इनवर्ड सप्लाई. ओके, तो क्या होगा वो इंट्रास्टेट इनवर्ड सप्लाई. तो दैट्स सी और एस. 90,000, 90,000. इंटरस्टेट इनवर्ड सप्लाई फ्रॉम रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन 5 लाख. इंटरस्टेट इनवर्ड सप्लाई फ्रॉम रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, तो 5 lakhs का 18% 90,000. नेक्स्ट, I want answer for this one guys. इसका ट्रीटमेंट क्या होगा? What will be the treatment for the last one? Tell me. What will be the treatment for value of intrastate inward supply from unregistered person? 2 lakhs. First question is, will you get ITC or not? Will you get ITC or not? Tell me that first. You will not get ITC, because understand that the supplier is an unregistered person and you are a registered person. How will you charge GST? If there is no GST, there is no question of ITC. There is no question of ITC. Can't avail, my dear friends. Can't avail. Okay. So there is no question of ITC. Okay. Okay. Then IGST credit on capital goods purchased in the month. Okay. 1.5 lakhs. Add kar do. What else? What else do we have? Okay. CGST, SGST credit. 0.5, that is 50,000. But amongst that, 5,000 is for membership, which we clearly know that is disallowed. So 45,000, 45,000. ठीक है, करेक्ट, ये हो गया. And last one, but before last I will take into consideration the bought forward credit. तो C का है 2 lakhs, S का है 2 lakhs and I का है 5 lakhs. Is that very clear? अरे yes or no guys? अरे yes or no guys? Yes, 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 yes. Now the only thing that I want is with the perspective of this one. What will happen in this case? In this case, we will have to understand, land up paying input tax liability. As per RCA, legal service, CGST, SGST, CGST, SGST. Okay, 1 lakh का, say 1 lakh का 9%, 1 lakh का 9%, 9,000, 9,000. Payable in cash. Okay, payable in cash. Is that very clear, guys? So here you will pay in cash first and then you will add it here. Okay. So tell me, how much is it? 6.5, 7.5, 7.4. How much is it? $7.49 है क्या? पक्का? सही है ना ये? इसका कैलकुलेशन करो। ठीक, 4.9. First you will exhaust IGST, okay? First you will exhaust IGST. Then you will have why do I feel ये ITC में कुछ कंप्यूटेशन में इशू है? Yeah, got it. वही लगा मुझे. $7.4, correct? Okay. Perfect. So that's 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs I'm using it against CGST. And then I'm so sorry guys, I'm so sorry. And then 3.44 I'm using it here only. The entire CGST and your SGST will be 3.44 again. So how much will this amount to? 5.44, that's 41,000. And here it will be 2,41,000. Okay, payable in cash. So what is the total amount payable in cash? 50k, 2.5, because you will also add this, right? Legal service wala not 9,000. So this is how it will happen. Okay, done. That's it, my dear friends. Okay, and the notes that you will write here is very simple. First, that ITC with respect to input service of membership club will be blocked. Second, you talk about the legal service where taxes payable as per RCM and how you will pay input tax liability first and then avail ITC for the same. Last, also say that okay, if supplier is unregistered, recipient is registered, supplier will not charge GST, so there is no question of ITC for this adjustment. And in the last, just mention manner of utilization of ITC, that first we will utilize IGST credit to pay off I and then S, I and then C or S in any order and any proportion, and then you'll end up saying CGST credit is then used to pay off C and then S, and so is with respect to SGST credit. Simple. Done. Done. Okay. Perfect. So that's it, my dear friends. Okay, they have done it in a different way, so don't copy their way. Don't. We have done it a little differently. They have done it, the presentation is different, the answer is same. If you will figure out, the answer is the same. Okay, so we have done it in a different way, we have presented in a different way, presented that. That's the best way. Okay, that's it, my dear friends. We are done with payment of tax. Okay, I hope you all have understood it, guys. Let's meet tomorrow. Okay, I am sending you the timings, and yeah, let's wrap up GST. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Good night, guys. Good night. Okay, and I would really urge and want you to go ahead and solve all the other Q&As of payment of tax. Please do it, guys. It will just give you a lot of confidence. Okay, that's it, my dear friends. Okay, so good night. Shabak hai. Shubh Ratri. Banuit. Yes, I want answers from everyone. Ganga, Harshita, Lakshmi, Sneha, Bala. Come on, guys. Please comment, guys. Please comment. Means a lot.